Everything that happened, he already knew it was going to happen. So the question is, why did Jesus weep? I know y'all know. Because his friend had died. But it's much more than that. Also, the humanness that he was feeling, the flesh that he was feeling for his friend and for humanity was just so unbearable that he shedded a tear. Now, what is weeping? Weeping is to express grief, sorrow, overpowering emotion to shed tears. We've all been weeping for the last couple of weeks. You know, my son passed, and then we had Minister Turner to pass. So, I mean, it's just been a trying time, you know. I didn't want to get into my prayer, didn't want to read my Bible, I didn't want to do any of that stuff. I just wanted to sit and do nothing, you know. But weeping may endure for a night. Come on now. But you know what come in the morning. Joy come in the morning. Yeah. This isn't going to be a long sermon here. But let me just give you some background on what happened with Jesus and his weeping. Jesus had grew up with friends just like anybody else. You know, he grew up as a child, and he lived in the town of Bethany. That's the town that Mary, Martha, and Lazarus, which are brothers and sisters, lived. So he had friends when he grew up. So Lazarus was one of his best friends. You know how you have that best friend that you grow up with, and you might not see him all the time, but if something happened to him, you're going to make sure you go to where they are and check it out. So Jesus was with the disciples, and he was preaching in a place about 75 miles away from where Bethany was. And also, they were trying to get him to come back to Bethany so that they could kill him. The Jewish people wanted to kill Jesus. So, Jesus knew this, of course, because he's all-knowing and all-powerful. So, Lazarus got sick. And what do we do when a person that we love gets sick? Nowadays, we'll put it on Facebook, we'll send a text, we'll send all kind of messages, just so people can know, pray for me, you know, pray for my family member. So if they was in this time and age, everybody would know it because it would be on Facebook. Just like when my son died, I got probably, I tell you, I put it on the Falcon Nation, and it was over 3,000 likes and over 1,000 comments, 1,100 comments on Facebook about my son. That's amazing to me. But Jesus, they sent word to Jesus that their brother was sick, and Jesus, doing what he does, he stayed where he was at for 2 more days. So he didn't rush to where his friend was, because there's an underlying reason why he didn't. So he tarried for 2 days, and then he told his disciples, let us go to see about Lazarus because he's asleep. And they was like, wait a minute, if he's sick and he was asleep, well, maybe he need to rest, you know? And then he said, no, he's dead, and I must go to raise him from the dead. See, sometimes our situations will be dead, and we need a resurrection of the situation. So Jesus, being Jesus, said, we're going to go on to Bethany. And when they got there, Martha came out to meet him. And Martha said, Jesus, why didn't you come when we called you? If you would have came, our brother wouldn't be dead. Our brother would not be dead if you just would have came. Now, when I heard that my son had got shot, got killed. I wanted to question God and say, God, if you just would have intervened, then he would be dead. But just like Jesus told Martha this, he said, and this is verse 25 of the same chapter, he said, I am the resurrection and the life, and he that believeth in me, though he were dead, ye shall live. And whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. Believeth in this. So that told me that my son wasn't dead. The physical part was dead, but spiritually he wasn't dead. Because he was with the Father.
Yes.
You know, we used to have conversations about spirituality, God, you know. He even said one day he might follow my footsteps to be in the ministry, you know. But, see, the thing that you have to realize is that God don't make no mistakes. We already know that. And spiritually, my son is in the ministry right now. And the reason I say that is thousands of people have said, I'm praying for you. Now, I ain't even got thousands of people yet to listen to me, but Little Larry has over 1,000 people praying. I'm praying for you. Bless your family. See, God knew what he was doing. You know, we're on a battlefield. This is spiritual warfare that we have to deal with every day of our lives.
Yes.
There's casualties in any war. Y'all better write that one down. There's casualties in any war. So who is to say that God is not going to use you for the benefit of the good of everybody?
That's right.
He might use you to help one person out there to see. And that one person might help thousands of people.
That's right.
See, that's how the glory of God works. It might just be one person that you need to touch so that the next level of his glory is going to be seen.
Yes.
Larry did what he did. He talked to his friends about the sermons that I did. He said that sometimes he said, Dad, that sure was a good one. You know, that sure was a good one. I told my friends about that one. He was on the battlefield for our Lord and Savior. Minister Turner found out about her the next day. I'm like, what am I living, a Job experience? But why can't I live a Job experience? Job lived it. He was after God's own heart. He knew God. He loved God. So do I. So why can't it be a Job experience? You know, I used to think, I told my wife this morning, I used to think that I was above all the troubles of the world. I guess that's that spiritual pride. See, once we get that spiritual pride, sometimes God has to knock you back down and say, hold on.
That's right.
You know? Who you think you are? Lord have mercy. Jesus knows. Jesus cares. Jesus knew that Lazarus was going to die. But it was for God's glory that he didn't go before his death, because he wanted to show everybody his resurrection power. So they went to the tomb, and he said, roll the stone off, and Mary was like, oh no, he's been in there 4 days, he's stinking and everything, don't roll that thing off, don't do that, no. But he said, roll it off. And he went to the door, and he said in a loud voice, that's what the word says, said in a loud voice. We know that was the Holy Spirit. He said, Lazarus, come out. Now, if he just would have said, come out, everybody in the grave would have came out. Because there's power in whatever words Jesus put out. So he had to be specific, because we had a whole bunch of dead folks walking around out there. So he said, Lazarus, come out. And here Lazarus come. Here he is. With the thing over his face, with his burial clothes on. That's the power of God.
Amen.
You know, and the same power has our two loved ones right now in his bosom. You know. Now, how many people have these two people touched? Man, Minister Turner funeral, beautiful. All them people. I didn't think Minister Turner knew too many people just because, you know, we come to church and see her and she comes home with us and we, you know, I didn't think she know too many people. That lady had the whole front of the church full, you know, coming to say their respects. That's the power of God, you know. So if you got a situation that you don't seem to know how to deal with, this resurrection power, give it to God. Know that Jesus has you. God said he'll never leave you or forsake you.
What he said.
Never. Never. No matter if things look dark, they look bleak, situations you just don't seem to be able to handle, your relationship ain't going right, your finances ain't going right, give it to Jesus. About to lose my home, give it to Jesus. My car broke down, what I'm gonna do?
Give it to Jesus.
Boy, I just love that God saw fit to bring me out of the situation that I was in before this right here happened. Because if I was still out there in the streets, I don't know what I would have did. But God saw fit to stand me up so that when this thing happened, because he knew it was happening. He knew it was coming. You know, it was predestined. This thing had to happen.
That's right.
So, saints, we're on the battlefield. Are you battle ready? Are you battle ready? So anytime you get in a situation that you just can't handle, this is what you say. Jesus wept. After you stop weeping, it's time for you to get back on that battlefield. You know, weeping lasts. You know, there's seven stages of grief. First is that shock. Oh my God, I don't believe it happened. Second is disbelief. Then denial. I just can't believe it happened. Still can't believe it. Then there's bargaining. Well, Lord, if I just would have did a little something different. Then there's guilt. If I just would have been with him or something, you know. Then there's that anger. That, you know what, killed my son. Then there's the depression. I went through that for these last 2 weeks. And now I'm at the acceptance part. Because we have to grieve. The grieving process is real. And everybody that knew my son has to go through the grieving process. Some of us do it faster than others, but we all have to do it. Hebrews 4:13 says this, and this is what we need to depend on. For we have not an high priest which cannot be touched with the feeling of our infirmities, but was in all points tempted like we are, yet without sin. Let us therefore come boldly unto the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in times of need.
Amen.
You know, this is a time of need for each and every one of us, you know. This grieving process that I'm going through, I need something, and I have to depend on Jesus Christ to give it to me. So if you have a question in your mind right now, give it to Jesus. We have to continue to pray.
Amen.
We have to continue to read our word.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to continue to help others. How many of y'all did your 30 minutes? Got 1, 2 people. How many of y'all gonna do y'all 30 minutes this week? Everybody need to raise their hand. That's 30 minutes a day, every day. Pick your time out of your day and just sit down and read your word. But don't only read it, study it.
Mm-hmm.
You know how to study your word, Kira?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What do you do when you study your word?
If I don't understand words, I'll look it up or Google it to see what it means so I can get the full understanding.
Ooh, that girl.
Different translations to see
That girl
what it
been
means.
listening, eh? I love her.
That's all.
Cheryl?
Same thing, words that I don't know, I'll Google it and really reread it until I retain it and it makes sense in my, how I interpret it, but I keep rereading it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
One good idea is always to find your translation that you can understand.
Yeah.
You know, find a translation. But we should always go back to the King James, and so we can, because the King James isn't the original, but it's the best, closest one we have to the original. Theo, what you gonna do this week, man?
Give God 30 minutes.
30 minutes. That don't even seem like that long. 30 minutes is not that long. We'll stay on Facebook. We'll watch all countless shows on TV. But when it comes time to just sit down and give God 30 minutes, we can't even do it.
Amen.
Come on, y'all.
it's true. Amen.
It's time.
It's true.
All right. So that's my sermon for today. So if you need prayer, please come up, because we're gonna pray for you and we're gonna love on you, and that's what we do here.
Yeah.
Amen. Come on up.